No. I can't touch anything.
Oh, okay.
I think we're live.
Sorry.
I actually don't know if we're live or not.
Oh, we live on Date Night Dice?
Ladies
No.
and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah, we're live. Hey, there it is. Hey.
Excellent.
Excellent. Okay, so welcome to another Board Ventures, I guess, live stream. We've done a couple of these before. This is our first kind of virtual live stream since I think we've kind of not incorporated, but come together under our own YouTube channel. So this is kind of fun. So I'm hoping that, hey Matt, how you doing? Yeah, I'm hoping that we get some interaction from the audience. But we are talking about a game that I absolutely love, and I hope that you all like as well. Marvel Champions. So why don't you all introduce yourself, and then we'll get into talking about it.
Spider Meg.
I am Professor Meg. I was like quickly trying to think if I could do like Professor Jane or something, but I couldn't think fast enough. I'm Professor Meg. I am a person on the internet that is a board game enthusiast that likes to do things like this and dress up. I'm in my element tonight on the Board Ventures. We're in costume. We have Nuka behind us in her little castle.
Oh, hey, Nuka.
So that's my intro.
Hey, Cap.
Hello. I'm Roberto. I am a part of Shear Boardom. I'm Shear Boardom. One half of Shear Boardom Table Talk. Kate is somewhere doing something with someone or something. I don't know. It's already been a long day today. I'm excited to talk about Marvel Champions, but I do run Shear Boardom Table Talk. Horrible for SEO. Shear because I'm a hairstylist. Boredom like board game. Again, horrible for SEO. But come to my YouTube channel for the interviews, stay for the reviews that I do with Kate, and then on Instagram, I'm Sheer Boredom pretty much there and everywhere else.
Awesome. And then I am Nelson. I am the co-host of the Fantasy and Some Flights podcast. If you know me through Marvel Champions, you probably know me as the Living Card Gamer. So a couple of different aliases, a couple of different, alter egos here and there. But so I kind of started the Living Card Gamer, which is a streaming service or streaming channel where I go through and play Marvel Champions, Lord of the Rings, and Arkham Horror. I like that sound. That's a good sound. That's always a good sound.
I was trying to do that nonchalant.
It did not work. But because I love this game so much, right? So I played this game for the first time March of last year. I just looked it up. I don't actually have that committed to heart. I just looked it up. But played for the first time of March of last year, and then very quickly became one of my favorite games of all time. And to the point where I have well over 250 plays of this game. And so that's a little bit of my background with the game. Roberto, what's your background with Marvel Champions?
My background was that my son wanted to play it because I really wasn't into games of this style until I obviously played this game. And then once he taught me how to play it, because he was playing it by himself, once he taught me how to play it, it was like, oh my God, this game is so good. And then we play it, and we're keeping on and with playing it. So you have the expansion. So we got to get that going at some point soon. Of course, with the new movie out, maybe there's something coming too. But I really enjoy the game because it's almost like a multiverse of sorts, right? Because one time you can beat a bad guy or not, and just try to beat him continuously if you lose.
Yeah. Matt from the chat says, wait, Nelson has a podcast?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I would say that the Living Card Gamer is kind of my side scheme. It's the podcast is where I started, and it's probably what I'm most known for, except for apparently in our Discord. So what about you, Meg? What's your background with the game?
I do want to just shamelessly plug, if you do check out the Fantasy and Some Flights podcast, I would start with the Star Wars episode. Still my favorite. Hilarious. Such gold. It'll just put you in such a good mood. It'll be a good day.
Yeah, I think the prequel one. So we did sequels, and we did not sequels. We did the original trilogy, and then we did the prequel trilogy. And prequel trilogy was a hoot.
So good. Yeah, Marvel Champions. I've been a huge fan of Fantasy Flight and of card games in general. And when I got to try Marvel Champions, it was the end of last year. And I really enjoyed it, but I've played it the most with Nelson. So out of all of us, I think I've played it the least, but it's like my favorite thing that it's our game that we play together, that I've played it on stream with him, with you. But I really enjoy it. I think it's a very smooth, well done game that I think it flows really well, and it makes sense that it's very easy to pick up, while it's still like very challenging. So it can be very tough, but still like easy to understand like why the thing is happening to you. I think it's very, very smooth.
Yeah, I really agree with that. And what I like about the game is that you have multiple difficulty levels that you can set yourself up for. And then there are heroes that are better at things than other heroes are. And so you can kind of scale the difficulty to whatever you're feeling like playing that day. But real quick, let's just give a quick overview of what the game is. It is a cooperative game from Fantasy Flight Games. It's a living card game, which means that you get to know the cards that you are going to open in the pack, which is nice from a financial standpoint, but sad from like, nostalgia standpoint. Like I really want to open those Yu-Gi-Oh packs again. I guess I still could, but
They should do foils.
Yeah, they should do foils. That'd be fun. So you are a hero and you can team up with other heroes, other champions to take on a villain. The villain has two kind of things that they're trying to do. They're trying to kill the heroes, and then they're trying to carry out their master plot, which is the side scheme or the main scheme that they're working on. And heroes have to mitigate, they have to thwart down the main scheme and make them stop the evil plot, and then also defeat the villain, so they can't continue on. And so it's so customizable. That's I think where I've fallen in love with it, because every single hero that you can buy in Marvel Champions, going back to how intense you want the game to can be played right out of the box. Like you can just go to the store, buy Doctor Strange, and play Doctor Strange, and that's how the game's set up, which I think is just a really awesome model that FFG kind of pioneered and at least took off with. And so I appreciate that, because I did get out of some of the TCGs and the CCGs because my wallet was not happy. And I guess like now that I'm running 3 LCGs, it's not really happy, but it is it is a little bit easier because you have access to all the cards, and which I really like from that sense.
Absolutely agree. I am not smart enough to construct a deck of cards that work well with it, that works well, if you will. So I'm happy I could just crack open any hero pack and say, hey, let's play this right there, right then and there. It's a good time.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've done some deck construction yourself. How for you is it more challenging that way? Is it a big puzzle to make an Iron Man deck or a strength deck, or and I'm sorry that the other pieces of what the cards are called are failing me right now, but have you made full-on decks like that?
Yeah. So I pretty much exclusively only play constructed decks now, because there are 2 main levels of difficulty. There's the standard and then there's expert, and expert is kind of set up so it'd be very hard to not build a deck for expert. And so that's actually my favorite part of the game, is building the decks. And then I think I've said it, I don't remember where I said it, but it's like a consolation prize that I get to play it afterwards. But really, like, I spend so much time not playing the game, or playing the game while I'm not playing the game, thinking about the game, thinking about the interactions of the game and how these cards work together. And so, and I like to find the weird kind of interactions. And there are people out there that are just so good at understanding the game and building decks. And so it's just a lot of fun. And so I would follow up to, you can play them pre-constructed out of the deck, out of the box. But if that's not something that maybe the deck isn't really working for you, there are websites, and we can put them in the description, that have, you can upload your deck and people can go and look at it and say, I want to run an aggressive Iron Man or a protection Iron Man. You can go look at those and find them, and it's ranked, and you can go pick your favorite and go for it. So there's just so many options, especially because it's a cooperative community game that people just love putting it out there.
At that point, is it easier to buy cards, or do you have to open up hero packs and hope for the best?
So the game, you always know what cards are coming in the pack. And so if you need preemptive strike, you know what pack that comes in. So it's like, oh, I need to go buy, I'm going to guess, Miss Marvel, because I know that these cards are in there. The website, you can also set up saying, hey, I have these packs, and then you can filter based on what cards are in your card pool.
Nice.
Which honestly is, especially being a co-op game, is really good, because then it's like keeping the price point where there's no second market, where if you're like, oh, I need this rare card, but I have to pay this much for it to be able to play with it. Like I like the randomness too, but that's what that creates usually, is a money market for it.
Yep. And also with it being a cooperative game, they can make scenarios because the villains change up and their modular encounter sets that change up, and you can create scenarios so that there's not necessarily one deck that can just do it all, right? The one deck that beats Ultron is not necessarily going to be the best deck that goes against Hela. And so I feel like there are very few dead cards in my card pool that I just never look at, right? Because it's always like, oh, this would work in this situation with this hero against that villain. And so I think those are the puzzle pieces where I feel I get the most satisfaction out of the game.
Is it best to run a scenario one or two-handed?
Solo, I prefer one-handed just because of how quick it is. And my mind, it's hard to... And one-handed being you're playing one hero as one person. Two-handed being one person playing two different heroes, basically simulating two different players. My favorite is two players.
Cool.
So I prefer playing two players because there's a lot of interactions. It is a cooperative game, and there's a lot of interactions that really get to open up when you're playing with two players. Four players, it takes a long time. And so anything over two is just, it can drag on. But I can lose really quickly solo, so that's easy.
And Nelson, you've played the Lord of the Rings LCG, which we don't have to super get into, but that's like a 10-year-old game. So that compared to Marvel now, like, you're probably the expert to tell us like what you've seen grow and like change for Marvel Champions.
Yeah, Marvel Champions is a much smoother game. They have learned a lot because they did Lord of the Rings, then they did Arkham LCG, and now they did Marvel. So this is their newest LCG under the same designers, and they've learned a lot. They all completely feel different, though. I would say that they are different games. They're under the same model, but they're different games. Marvel is a lot easier to pick up. The rules are a lot more straightforward, and it's a lot lighter on the deck building. So with Lord of the Rings, you have to construct a 50-card deck, and 0 of your cards are set. With an Arkham, you have to construct a 30-card deck, or a 33-card deck, or however many, and like 2 of your cards are set. In Marvel, it's a 40-card deck, and 15 of your cards are set. So it gets a lot easier to build decks. Heroes feel like the core of the game, whereas in Lord of the Rings you have 3 heroes, and they do have an impact on what your strategy is, but it's very much a more like robust part of Marvel.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Also, Marvel is a lot more forgiving than Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is very, very brutal.
And even rulebook wise, like I think obviously like it's an old game and they tried their best when they did it, but even the rulebook for Marvel Champions is much better.
Yeah. Very much so, yeah. What do you have a favorite hero that you all have played as? Is it Captain
Probably.
Spider-Man?
Actually, it's probably going to be Tony, Iron Man. I really enjoyed playing as, and just being able to get all of his gear together and executing some really cool combinations on doing 16 to 20 damage on one turn just is so satisfying.
Yes.
But it takes so long to get there, but the build up and the payout is phenomenal.
Oh yeah. No, Iron Man is he's so crazy. And it takes a little bit to get there, but once you do, it's a fun. What about you, Meg?
I really liked Scarlet Witch. She was very, very fun. But I really want to try Ant-Man now. I haven't gotten to play as much as I would like to, and after hearing more about Ant-Man, that's the one that I think I want to try next. He seems really fun.
Yes.
I like damage.
Yeah. Yep. Red Ant-Man. There you go. Yeah. No, I think you would really enjoy Ant-Man as well. Mine's Quicksilver. However, the new expansion just came out on Friday. So like we've had it for about 4 days. And one of the heroes in that, it's all about Spider-Man. It's a Spider-Verse expansion. Iron Man. That's what the chat is saying. Iron Man.
Karokai?
Yeah, and like I've like got it in my head that I'm gonna say it wrong because I think I said it wrong the first time you joined my stream, and so now it's like I'm never gonna say it right. It's one of those things I've just like worked myself up to. So Karokai. Well, I'll just say all the iterations and eventually I'll be right. So hey, how you doing? But so yeah, we got the new Sinister Motives. Nailed it. We got the new Sinister Motives campaign box, and Ghost Spider is one of the heroes in there, and she is awesome. I can really see her becoming one of my favorites. So she's kind of been on my mind recently.
That makes me happy because she's a very cool character.
Yeah. She's awesome. She's very, very cool.
Is it hard playing the game not knowing the alter ego of Spider-Man? Because we don't know who he is.
Which one you're playing as? It's funny because there are so many Spider-Men in the game now, especially with this box. Like we have Peter Parker, the hero. We have Peter Parker, the ally. We have another Peter Parker, the ally. We have Miles, the hero. We have Miles, the ally. We have there's so many Spider-Man in the game now. It's just like it's fun because now there are cards that play off of how many basically Spider-Man you have on the table, and so it's really fun to just see how many you can throw down. But it's been a lot of fun. I just really like the theme that they are able to capture and how each kind of box and campaign does something different, and that's something that we haven't really talked about. Is each game can play out as an individual scenario, and that's kind of how it started. But now they have 4 campaigns out, which is a series of 5 games, and you can like level up your character as you go through, add new cards to your deck, change up your deck, you get experience, and each campaign functions a little bit differently. And so that I love sitting down and playing the individual scenarios, but the campaigns are really fun as well because it's fun to kind of build and then see where it takes you. So. Have you all played any of the campaigns? I think Roberto, you at least have one.
I have the Rise of Red Skull, yeah, but we haven't gotten around to playing that. But this is going to motivate me to do so. So thank you.
You should. You definitely should.
Yeah.
But
are there any anti-heroes that you can play with? Like is a Venom or someone you can play as a hero or villain?
Yeah, so I would say Venom or Agent
Did you
Venom.
lose me? Oh.
Yeah, very, very, very,
Okay.
Very briefly there. Yeah, so Venom is in the game as a hero, ally, and enemy. Nebula is a hero that you can play as, and Nebula is a villain that you can play against. But those are the kind of 2. And then there are some heroes that are not very good that we may call anti-heroes just because they're a detriment if they're on your team. But or if you're playing with me.
Do tell.
Hulk is the worst character in the game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke, but every single time it's kind of like a joke in the community. Every single time a new pack comes out, it's like, is Hulk good now? Like, does this card fix Hulk? It never does. It just never
Not
does.
yet.
Not quite yet.
Someday.
Yeah. Poor Hulk.
Poor Hulk.
Oh man. What I appreciate This is from the chat, Matthew from the chat. What I appreciate with the core set is that the villains there feel relatively manageable relative to the scenarios I run for core set or core Lord of the Rings. Yeah. I think that there is a good scale of difficulty in the core set with Marvel Champions. Like Ultron is one that you need to build for, right? He's not someone that you can just take on and play the exact same way you would play against Claw, which would be the exact same way you play against Rhino. And like I do feel like there's a really good scale of difficulty there. Whereas Lord of the Rings, the third scenario in Lord of the Rings is notorious. Like I still have not beat that scenario. I just I don't have. I've opened, I don't know, 20 expansions now, and I don't have a good enough card pool to beat it consistently. I could probably beat it about 5% of the time if I wanted to. So
Wow.
they've also learned over the 10 years how to make a little bit more nice scenarios.
Yeah.
A little accessible.
Yeah.
It's a la Dark Souls. You keep coming back for more because it's a big puzzle.
Yeah.
To be. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think the first time I played Ultron, I may have been completely wrong with it, but we did the first difficulty, but we ended up playing against him with the 3 tiers versus the first 2, because at that point I already had everything as Iron Man, and I think my son was, I think he was Doctor Strange, really. I think we both were like, oh yeah, we can do this. And so we actually were able to take him down all 3 stages as fully kitted Iron Man, and then him as Strange. It was really fun.
That feels so satisfying. Oh man! And now that you're thinking about it, I guess like Vision is a hero you can play against Ultron. So I don't know quite how you would rank that as an anti-hero, but I do hope that we start to see more of that. I know that there's been spoilers from the designer and from outside of the designers, like being on podcasts and stuff, that at some point soon we're going to start getting X-Men. So
cool.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's been a huge kind of discussion in the community on
throwing up against Dark Phoenix.
And who are we going to get? Like who's going to come out? Are we like, who are the heroes going to be in the core box? And then
obviously Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that Wolverine's not going to be in like the first box because it's going to be a guaranteed sale of the next one. And so kind of how Marvel Champions works is they have a campaign box that has the 5 scenarios and 2 heroes. And then there are typically 4 heroes that follow that. And if you put Wolverine in one of those 4 packs of heroes, you're going to sell that pack no matter what. So, yeah. So we want X-Men in the chat. And then let's not forget about Fantastic Four. Yeah, that I guess let's talk a little bit. Who would you all like to see as
I was
hero?
literally gonna say that, and I was thinking X-Men. I was thinking like we should say who we think we would like. So you guys say yours and I'll think of something different.
Okay. Do you got something, Roberto? I've thought about this a lot, so I can go first.
Yeah, you go first. Give me a second.
I really want a Defenders box. I want the
so cool.
Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil. Yeah. It's a joke that Daredevil is on, I think he's the most featured hero on cards, I think.
Interesting.
And he's not in the game. But I love the Defenders. I love the TV shows, and so I'm really looking forward to that. We had a huge discussion about the possible X-Men heroes. Yeah, that's been really busy on the Discord recently. Kurokai wants Cyclops. That'd be fun.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
You thought of anything, Roberto?
I'd like to see, I guess, kind of flip the game over a little bit, a la Villainous from like, the Disney Villainous. So we can play as Ultron against someone who's a little more like Captain Marvel or just, I don't know, and just anyone in particular, and just try to take a hero down. I think that'd be really cool.
That would be really cool. And did you all ever play Marvel Legendary, the deck builder game?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it was a standard deck builder that you would take basically a couple of heroes, shuffle them together, and then you would build your deck throughout the game based on the heroes that you could draft. And they did, I'm not going to remember what it's called, but they basically flipped it on its head and did Marvel Legendary Villains, where you face off against the heroes and you played as the villains. And so,
Oh, that's my jam right there.
yeah,
That sounds fantastic.
yeah, I would be all about that. Did you think of one, Meg?
Okay. I would love to see an Angela one. Because there is no Angela, right? They did. What have they done with Thor? They've done Thor.
They've done Thor and they've done Valkyrie.
And so not even Loki.
No,
Okay.
Loki's a villain. You can fight against Loki.
They could make a hero one for him.
Yeah, I would love to see a hero. I want alligator Loki. That would be fun.
But yeah, I would like an Angela one. And then speaking X-Men, I would love, because this is like a wish list, I would love Jubilee or Gambit. Gambit would be really fun, but I think he's like not cool anymore.
You have to speak Cajun the entire time, though.
Yeah.
You have to be mache and just
or Ileana.
Yeah, Gambit is my X-Men that I want the most. But
if it was X-Men, probably Nightcrawler. I want to poof.
Nightcrawler, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Have you all been watching the Moon Knight?
No.
No. I need to binge it. I'm waiting for it to come out to binge it.
It's so good.
I have a lot of Marvel to catch up on.
Yes, yeah. Matthew from the chat said that there are so many Marvel heroes that honestly it could still be running while I'm in a retirement home, and it could be, and I hope that it is. Like I will play this in the retirement home, no doubt.
You forget everything else but the rule set to Marvel Champions.
Yeah, give me pudding and give me Marvel Champions. Yeah. I don't know. Oh man,
that should be a T-shirt.
Yeah. I'll make it. I'll make that T-shirt. That'd be great. Oh yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say something, but it's gone. It's gone. But anyways,
a good T-shirt.
That would be a good T-shirt.
Who is your go-to person then when you stream? Can you go over a protection Iron Man versus the aggression deck?
Yep. So I'll do it for Captain America. How about that? That's because Iron Man's a little weird. Okay. Iron Man's a little weird. So aggression, there are 4 aspects in the game. There's aggression, which is deal damage, health be damned. There is protection, which is kind of the opposite. You want to maintain health, defend, not take damage. There's justice. And so when we were talking about earlier how you have to defeat the villain, but also make sure that they're not carrying out their master plan. Justice is all about mitigating their advancement on that master plan. And then there's leadership, where leadership is, I kind of think of as, let's get all of the allies and try and group a bunch of people together to take on, the villain together. Yeah. So the difference here would be that aggression Captain America would be focusing on in the hero phase, which is the first kind of phase that you go in the game, is trying to deal the damage and playing a lot of cards that deal 5 damage to the villain, or the villain will kind of call on his minions to come help. So little less powerful enemies will come out, and so dealing with those, cleaning up the board, and to let your other players take down the main scheme or things like that. Whereas protection is on the other side of the table. Like, I like protection to be able to try and protect that aggressive player, because the aggressive player Captain America, I think, has 11 hit points, and once he dies, then everything that he's working on comes over to you, and so you have to keep him alive. And so with protection, you would be defending for Captain America so that he's not taking the damage and he can stay in his hero form longer. Okay, so we've got a couple of comments. We got Matthew. My choice for new entry is either Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, or Spider-Man Noir. That'd be cool. Yeah. Protection, yep, is Nelson's forte. Yeah, that's my favorite aspect. I like the green cards. And then Matthew, leadership, or as I like to call it, let the minions do the work.
I think that's why I enjoy playing with you so much, Nelson, because I am such an aggressive player and I love doing damage. And you're like, you go, just go do it. And I'm like, really? And you're like, yeah, you go.
You got it. You do
the
you,
best.
and I'll just make sure you don't die.
It's my favorite.
That's why I'm here. Yeah, and those are so like we got a couple of comments thing that I keep getting Discord notifications, which are covering the comments on the on YouTube. That like, Hawkeye leadership, use your allies to let you shoot your bow, which Hawkeye has like, you know, his bow and his arrows that do all this stuff, right? And so basically what Chad is saying is let the minions take the hits instead of you. So so you can definitely do that. But those are kind of the standard archetypes in each one of those four. And as the game grows, we're just getting more and more things that we can do in each one of those colors, which is pretty cool.
Excellent.
But yeah, so I'm bummed that Jason couldn't be on here. So D20 is another member of the Board Vengers, and I stream with him. It feels weird to say I stream with him weekly because we haven't streamed in about 6 weeks together, which we're streaming tomorrow, so that'll be fun. But it's just been busy time. But you know, Jason is kind of the one who got me into Marvel Champions and LCGs, and so you know, I both praise and curse his name at night. So, but yeah, so there's a lot out there. If you ever have any questions or want to talk about LCGs, definitely, you know, reach out to us or just ask away. Put in the comments which your favorite hero, because I always like hearing about those. And if you do want to watch Marvel Champions being played live, you can watch me stream. I'm now streaming Marvel Champions on Fridays, or if you want, in 27 minutes right from this live stream, Jason will be playing some Marvel Champions. He's going to be playing the new campaign, so you can find him over on Twitch. But any last words? That sounded ominous. Any closing? Yeah, Jason is a terrible influence from the chat. It's true. It's true. Nope.
Be good to each other out there.
Be good to each other.
Be nice.
Yeah, eat your Wheaties. Drink your Ovaltine. But
this is the Board Vengers After Dark crew. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
We're approaching my bedtime.
But I think it's fantastic. You have such a deep understanding of the game, and thank you for, putting this together. It's helped me learn a lot. Just having you talk about it and seeing in the chat too, and learning how to pronounce Kirokai.
Just all the iterations will get there eventually.
Excellent.
And then he says only he can prevent forest fires, so that is always sound advice. So appreciate it. Oh man. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out. I always love talking Marvel Champions. It's always something that I will hop on and talk about. So Matthew does have a good point. So in the chat, core set protection is not fun. I would absolutely agree with that. That the green cards, it was very bad out of the core set. It was tough, and so you have to go buy some packs to make that work. Kuroki says that he's going to change his name to Bob. So
nice.
All right, Bob.
All right, Bob. Excellent. Well, thank you all for hanging out. Thank you, chat, for hanging out. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you all very soon. Peace. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.